Many people view Japan as this beautiful society of kind, slightly racist people. With beautiful architecture and aesthetically pleasing scenery, Japan is most likely considered to be one of the most stunningly gorgeous countries in the world. Japan is also very proud of its safety and gun laws, with a staggering 0.25 homicide rate for every 100,000 people, or 1 in 400,000. This means there are 308 homicides per year, which, in comparison to the United States, that has 7.8 deaths per 100,000 people, that's just over 26,000 deaths per year. And for Japan, it's amazingly low, and they are proud of that, rightfully. But even in the most peaceful of countries, these crimes do still occur. And today, I'm going to speak about what could possibly be one of the cruelest homicides in the last 100 years. The Junko Furuta case, also known as the concrete-encased high school girl murder case, is a notorious and tragic incident that occurred in Japan in 1988. It involved the abduction, torture, and murder of a 17-year-old girl named Junko Furuta. The details of the case are incredibly disturbing, so please be advised that the following information may be distressing. Junko Furuta was a high school student in Tokyo when she was abducted by 4 teenage boys on the way home from school. Hiroshi Miyano, Joe Kamisaku, Shinji Minato, and Yasushi Watanabe. The main perpetrator, Hiroshi Miyano, was known to Furuta as they attended the same school. On November 22, 1988, Miyano invited Furuta to his house, where she was then taken captive. For the next 44 days, Junko Furuta was subject to extreme and prolonged acts of physical and sexual torture. The 4 boys, along with several other individuals, include their friends and acquaintances, took their turns assaulting and torturing Furuta. They beat her, burned her with cigarettes, and poured hot wax on her, inserted foreign objects into the body as well. The perpetrators also forced her to engage in sexual acts and endure continuous R-word. During her captivity, Furuta was held in the house owned by the parents of one of the perpetrators. Despite being aware of her presence, the parents did not intervene or report the crime. Furuta was further subject to humiliation as her tormentors forced her to call her own parents and tell them that she had run away. On January 4th, 1989, after 44 days of unimaginable suffering, whilst playing a game of mahjong against her captors, she managed to get the upper hand, beating them in the game. This made them livid. Then they decided to end her life. They beat her severely, poured lighter fluid on her, and set her on fire. Despite her injuries, she managed to stay alive for a few more hours before ultimately succumbing to her injuries. Following her passing, the perpetrators attempted to dispose of her body by placing it in a 55-gallon drum filled with concrete. They disposed of the drum in a remote location in Tokyo's outskirts. However, the authorities eventually discovered the location after receiving a tip, leading to the arrest of the perpetrators. In the subsequent trials, the 4 main perpetrators were convicted of crimes related to the abduction, torture, R-word, and murder of Junko Furuta. Hiroshi Miyano, the primary assailant, received a sentence of 20 years in prison. Kamisaku, who was the primary responsible for the fatal assault, was initially sentenced to death, but due to his age, was given a life sentence. The other 2 perpetrators, Minato and Watanabe, received lesser sentences. The Junko Furuta case still remains one of the most horrific and deeply disturbing crimes in Japanese history. It had garnered significant attention and serves as a reminder of the unimaginable brutality that can be inflicted on innocent individuals. So, what has become of Junko's murderers? It is believed that all 4 of Furuta's killers have been released from prison, and that Watanabe is the only one who has avoided further criminal activity since his release. Believe it or not, this story gets a lot worse. 15 years after the murder of Junko Furuta, 2 mangaka by the names of Yoji Kamata and Seiji Fuji created quite an infamous manga under the name 17 Sai. For those of you who don't speak Japanese, Sai, when attached to a number, means years old. The similarities between the name of the manga and the age of Junko Furuta don't stop there. Published in 2004 to 2005, the manga depicts the kidnapping and R-word of a 17-year-old girl, quite distastefully based on the murder of Junko Furuta. In tandem with this bastardization of the horrible story of what happened to this girl, it is believed that Junko was R-worded over 400 times over those 44 days of hell, as they're called. If you wish to see more videos like this, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and I'll definitely create more. Anyway, that's it for me. Jamota.